Greetings and salutations. And when we left off, we were exploring a whole bunch of area I had not explored yet. And we're going to continue doing that. Now, I didn't, and nobody really watched last episode, which is kind of weird, but at the same time, whatever, I guess. You know, people like it, people don't. And as everybody knows, um, I'm not a fan of talking about politics. I try not to. But something that occurred to me, and it's something that really just kind of really annoys me. Now, maybe it'll annoy other people too, I'm not sure. But, okay. And I think the thing that annoys me is the fact that there's a bunch of people out there, and this was recently, that they were talking about the ills of capitalism. Right? Now, but when they talk about it, they don't talk about the proper capitalism. But people would say, of course, you're going to say that, blah, blah, blah. Nah, well, let me explain. The capitalism they talk about is crony capitalism, but they're labeling it just capitalism as a whole. They're not talking about free market capitalism. And this really just kind of annoys me. Like, to such a degree that I would say I mean, it's just beyond irritating. I really wish they wouldn't do that. And the reason I wish they wouldn't do that is because it's wrong. Like, to sit there and say, oh, yes, well, capitalism's at fault, but it's like, okay, but there's a difference. Crony capitalism is where corporations, non governmental organizations, super PACs all get together and form lobbying groups and lobby government officials to get what is essentially a kind of like a leg up on everyone else. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that doesn't sound very fair. And you'd be right. It's not fair. But I honestly don't think anybody cares in politics or in any sort of political arena. I really don't think they have an issue with it, to be perfectly honest with you. And so they just kind of go, shrug their shoulders. Now, that market, when they create that type of market of crony capitalism, it makes it so that it's very hard for mom and pop shops and small business to do business. Reason being, and this is ever since I think Bush Senior, maybe Clinton, I can't remember which era it was. They ruled that money was free speech. And when they ruled that money was free speech, what that did is it basically said that if you've got a pocketbook, you can influence certain things as speech. Which, of course, we know exactly how that turns out. It's corruption at the highest order. But everybody just kind of turned a blind eye to it. And with them turning a blind eye to it, what it ended up doing is it ended up making it so that people just kind of look at the entire corporation and say, well, it's those darn dirty corpos that are causing problems. Kinda true. not 100% true, but kinda true. I mean, yeah, they're causing problems, but I wouldn't say that they're the sole purpose of the problem. It's the fact that it's kind of a hand in glove sort of thing. Like one knows what the other one's plotting, and they just go, well, we'll allow it. Now, how it screws over the little guy, if you really think about it. Mom and pop shops, let's say they want to buy, I don't know, artisanal wooden chairs, okay? So they set out to buy these artisan wood chairs. And what happens? Walmart and any other corporate entity says, well, we want to buy the same chairs. Okay. So the manufacturer sells Walmart and other entities like Walmart the chairs at a cut rate cost. Because, well, they're buying them in bulk, you see. And because they're buying them in bulk, they're going to cut them a deal. And the mom and pop stores don't get that deal. Now, is that dirty, scummy business practices? Well, yeah, absolutely, 100%. But it happens. It happens quite a bit, actually. Now, there's definitely ways around it. There's definitely ways to stop it. The free market would say, and the free market would dictate, they have to sell it at the same price to both people. The thing is could they get in trouble for doing that and doing some sort of like silent price fixing? Absolutely. If they weren't lobbying and paying. Because then it's like, yes, you keep people off our back, and we'll let you in on some juicy intel, some interesting tidbits of information. Now you know why the certain political figures that aren't bought off by foreign entities are bought off by insider trading. Kind of the same thing. I keep hitting E to open stuff. That's not helping me. But it happens a lot. Like, a lot. A lot more than it should. Is it right? No. It's terrible, and it's wrong, and it shouldn't happen. Now, there is ways to stop it, but it's kind of nuanced in order to do it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Under an actual free market economy, you could just basically say to a producer, hey, you manufacture this, we would like to buy a percentage of that at this rate. And they would end up having to sell it to you at said rate. Unless they would want to, face the consequences, which the consequences would be, them being financially punished in one way or another. Whether it be, through legislation or what have you. How they got punished is completely irrelevant to the matter. But it's more along the lines of wanting them to be punished. Yes, I would absolutely love it if they got punished. 100%. They won't, but I would love it. So, we got to ask ourselves, how do we get back to free market economy? How is it possible? Well, it's possible by one big process, and that is, and it's going to sound daunting for all parties included, and that is we have to effectively do a constitutional convention to change the amendments of the Constitution so that they can no longer get basically they can no longer get kickbacks. Ooh, cryolinks. Nice. And if you were to set it up that way, and they no longer got their kickbacks and everything, it would be interesting to see how rapidly things would change. Is that going to happen? Not in the foreseeable future. It's possible. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say it's not possible. It is definitely achievable. Realistically achievable? Wow, that thing sleeps by levitating. What do you need a bed for? Anyway, it's possible to do it without the Constitutional Convention, but they're not going to legislate it themselves, right? Because that's self-obsolescence. So what are we left with? Well, we're left with having to deal with the crony capitalist society. Now, the reason I have a problem with this, and the reason why it really, like, boils my bladder, is because... Oh, I have unused stat points. Forgot about that. The reason I have a problem with it is because you get to the point where these people go, well, the only way to fix the system is to embrace socialism or communism. Well, okay, that doesn't work, right? It's been tried, and it's been done to death multiple times, and what happens? The people at the top make all the money, the people at the top get all the resources, and it's corrupt from the top down. And the moment that people realize that system's no better, you're already knee deep in it, and you can't really get out of it. As a scholar once said, you can vote your way into socialism, but you got to shoot your way out. Now, I don't advocate for violence of any kind. It just has never been high on my agenda. But I understand what he's saying, is because it's a dangerous system, right? Now, there are some tenets to it that are nice and seem applicable and would seem feasible, if not achievable. But then there's a cost attached to this. And if people realized that, much like they said in Full Metal Alchemist, to gain something of equal or greater value must be given. So if you wanted to gain, say, a system of free healthcare or whatever, some taxes would have to be paid somewhere along the line of some description. Oop. And of course you have the people saying, oh, well, I'd pay that, no problem. But would you? I mean, we're talking, it would be 40 to 50% of your overall, like, whoa. Brother, use your grenade launcher. In this place? Are you serious? What are you doing firing a grenade, my friend? And yes, the tax burden would have to be that high. Again, when you have a tax burden like that, what happens? You say, oh, well, just tax the rich more. Again, doesn't work that way. The reason it doesn't work that way is, let's say you start taxing the rich. That they are the one case of society that has the money and the ability to just poof. So now what do you got? Got a whole bunch of rich waspy douchebags that just, and they're gone. They Thanos snapped themselves to a tax haven. So it's not going to work. Alright, so now we have to figure something out. Now everybody likes to talk about like health insurance too. They go, oh, well, the healthcare costs are too high. Okay, why is that? And they'll say, well, it's because they abolished part of the Affordable Care Act. Okay, let's run with that. Who was the author of the Affordable Care Act? Who helped author the Affordable Care Act? Anybody? Anybody want to take a guess? I'll give you 30 seconds. You probably won't get it. It's worth a shot, though. Let's give it a chance. give it a shot. Time's up. The insurance companies helped author the Affordable Care Act. The same insurance companies. Now, why would they want to go and help author a bill that they knew was going to cost them money? We're trying to make healthcare cheaper. So we're gonna author a bill that takes away healthcare to a degree and makes it cheaper so that we make no money. I don't know about you, but insurance companies are a business. Aren't they trying to make money? So why would they help author a bill that makes them lose money? They wouldn't. Which means the bill was never about making money and it was never about losing money. It was about creating a system that people couldn't get out of because there was mandatory. You had to mandatory write-in, right? You couldn't just say nope, not doing it. You had to join, or you paid a penalty. Who'd you pay the penalty to? The government. And who did they end up getting the pet? Wow, he was right there. And who did they end up getting? Who ended up getting the money? The government. And you can almost bet your bottom dollar that there was people that were paying off the insurance companies with the money that went to the government. But there was a kickback clause in it. Almost guaranteed. Now, again, people don't like to think that. People like to think that their government is above that. They're not. I mean, let's be real here. It's a system that threw everybody overboard a long time ago. Why is it these politicians go in with a little bit of money and they end up getting a massive amount of net worth? Somebody somewhere is greasing the palms. You don't sit there and be like, yes, I make $120,000 a year salary, but my net worth goes from, $200,000 to $4 million in 4 years. Something about that number doesn't seem to add up. Now, some people have egregious amounts like that. Ooh, Relaxosaurus Lux. I'll do that one. I'll probably go do Jormuntide too. Or I'll go do Fanglope. I haven't done Fanglope. But I'm going to do this guy first. After I get rid of that dude. I got him ready. Oh, it puts it away. Oh, okay. Sure. There you go. He's a cool looking dude. Okay, well, fine. You want to play that game? Boom. One day, Relaxosaurus had an idea. Maybe it was about the time for change. And then just sent an electric shock race through his body. Okay. So he was just relaxing, and then all of a sudden he became supercharged? Sure. Seems like a pretty cool canonic storyline. But no, I take a look at politicians and they make a ton of money, and you're like, well, wait a minute, where'd they get it? And if you're wondering how they get it and how they can just seem to not really worry too much about how they get it, it's simple. You have what are called NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Those fat bills, like the omnibus bills and whatnot, that get passed through Congress and get ratified, are full of what are called pork politics. Now, pork politics is, pork projects. And it's usually something along the lines of you have to go to this country somewhere, and while you're there, you're going to research something that doesn't really matter, and it takes tens of millions of dollars, if not more. What actually happens is they're basically told, while you're there, you get to take a fancy little vacation for, say, 30, 40 grand, and you get to deposit the rest of this into an account. And when you deposit the rest of it into an account, that account then funnels the money from it's an NGO account, which is a non-governmental organization, like I said before. That money then gets funneled as campaign donations back to a super PAC, which is a political action committee. And those PACs then give out campaign contributions to all of your senators and congressmen, and it would be folly to think that they don't dip into that as a personal slush fund. Is it illegal for them to do so? Yes. Do they probably do it anyway? Yes, probably. I mean, there's been people that have gone to jail for embezzlement, which is essentially the same thing. Except this would be embezzlement on the scale of government. And that's the thing, is it's not that the people are allowing them to get away with it, it's just the fact that people are unaware that these people are getting away with it. And it's like, a lot of people are like, well, it takes money to take out those ads on television. And so they just kind of, nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care, they just kind of, well, whatever. Not the exact attitude you need to be taking with it. It's a multi-generational machine that's been doing this. And when I say multi-generational, I'm talking like since 1914. Yeah, since like 1914. And of course, people say, "Wait a minute, how do you know?" Well, okay, let's use our reasoning and let's put some thinking caps on. So we have a group of people that were effectively the barons of industry in America. They popped on over to the UK to try to pay off the debt that was accrued during the Civil War. These barons of industry were turned away by the then Rothschild family. And I say the then Rothschild family because it's changed hands since then. You have, younger Rothschilds now, but it's changed hands. Anyway, they didn't strike a deal with the then Rothschild family. Now, the then Rothschild family sent them back on a very specific ship. Anybody want to guess what that one is? I'll give you 10 seconds on that one. Time's up. The HMS Titanic. The very same. Now, I'm not saying that the Titanic sunk on purpose. I'm just saying it seems a little weird that you put all the barons of industry that wanted to buy up America's debt that they owed to the Rothschilds for helping them in the Civil War, and all 5 of the barons of industry just so happened to be put on the same exact vessel that just so happens to sink. None of them seem to survive. Weird, right? So now you have a problem. Now we're basically nothing more than a shell corporation for multi-trillionaire investors. Who were not above funding both sides of the war, by the way. They funded the South and the North. I'm not saying that we're under the rule of the crown, but we were under the rule of, effectively, private enterprise owned by the crown. Assuming the crown wasn't owned by the same private enterprise. Sure, yeah, we'll get the fugitive. Why not? I've got a heat-based armor system going. And people like to say, "Oh, well, that's just a conspiracy theory." Okay, well, but is it though? Like, how far off base am I really? I mean, if you just sit there and think, I went past Fenglo because I don't know where he is. I think he's in one of those. He's probably right there or right there, and then you have to go in either way to find him. Anyway. Ooh. You know, you don't really have to sit there and look too deep into it to realize, hey, there's something a bit weird. It's like, if you really think about it, you ever wonder why banks don't have a problem with you taking out a loan even though your credit is subprime? Especially if you own property. They get the collateral. You have to put your house up for collateral, and then all of a sudden, oh, look, they have it. Who do they sell it to? Their little banker friends. It's kind of like I almost want to say a multi-tiered oddball system designed against the normal people. And of course, people would say, well, wait a minute, that just seems wacky and crazy. It's like, yeah, but it's not, though. Like, if you really think about it. Why do they convince you to go to college when most of the degrees you go for are going to become null and void by the time you get out of college? Ever notice that? Think about it. And I'm not talking just technical trade schools. I'm not talking like carpentry or plumbing or anything like that, which would be a wise thing to do. Like if you knew somebody that could do, say, carpentry, plumbing, welding, being an electrician, any and all, it's a great job career to get into. It's a great career path because it's going to be in high demand. That's number one. Number two, this place looks kind of cool. Number two, why do you think they tell you to go in? You have to get a higher education. Need a little bit of coffee. They tell you you need a higher education, right? And they say this to you. And they tell you you should go to college. And it's always master's degree required. Have you noticed that? The master's is 6 years. For those that you're not aware. So you go into college and you go to get your master's. And whatever you go for, chances are that field is either crowded, overpopulated. Whoa. You know what? We roll. We roll with it. Ow. Oof. King Lux is just is an absolute brick. Look at him. Ooh. Whoa. Didn't want to kill him, but whatever. He's dead now. No, think about it. Why do they tell you to get a master's? Can't be because there's because it's a necessary function. They want you to go into a field that gets oversaturated, so that you can't get into the field. That's the design. That way, now you have 6 years worth of loans you have to pay off, and the field's oversaturated and you can't get in. It's the whole idea. Is to create a system. Because if they let's look at it from a different perspective. Let's take a pie slice out of it, right? Let's say it's a system that really wanted you to focus on getting that higher education and getting the pertinent knowledge required so that you could do the best job. Why do they force you to take so many credit hours? Specifically about things that are not even applicable. And I know what people are thinking, well, what do you mean they're not applicable? Well, let's take a look. How many credit hours do you think are required for, calculus to do psychology? Are you really going to need calculus to figure out a non-fixed point in a three-dimensional space to balance your checkbook? Or if you have to take math beyond the first year, because you're only going to be doing simple addition and subtraction in psychology. So why do you have to take 2 years of math? And why do you have to take, say, history? Maybe psychological history would make whoops, that was a waste. Maybe psychological history would make sense. Take psych history and, okay. That seems kind of apropos, doesn't it? Because now you're dealing with the history of psychology. Nope, that loot's dead to me. I figured that was the case. Stop, drop, and roll. Nope. Just apparently catch fire and die is apparently the order of the day. But anyhow, really think about it. What's the reasoning behind why they want you to do it? The only thing that makes any sense at all, they want you to have to go into debt. The whole credit hour system is a scam. And I mean, the whole credit hour system is a scam. I think I can ride on Serpent Terra, I think. No, I cannot. That's not what I want. Wait, is it? Wait, there is a... Oh, it's a schematic. Never mind. I made an armor set in here for heat resistance that I can wear. There was one floating around. I hope I can find it, otherwise I'm in trouble. Looks like I'm in trouble and I have to make another. Not that one. But no, it's... There's definitely some scammy scummery at work, if you really think about it. And the more people realize... I really have to stop doing that. More people realize that that's exactly what they want. They want you to be in debt. They want you to build up a debt and then have it, right? And the more people realize that and say, hey, you know what? This place is putting me into debt. Why? Well, because you kind of need to in order to get the high paying job, as they put it. For example, I went and I took psych. Went to college for psych. And when I went to college for psychology, I thought, you know, it's going to be great. I like helping people through their problems, and it's been that way for a long time. And I thought, you know, that wouldn't be a bad career choice. I sit there, I can make money, giving them advice, helping them through their issues, that kind of thing. Sweet. And then you just kind of sit there and you realize that there's something wrong. And I mean that in the most subtle sense of the word. Because I go and I take all the courses, no problem. And yet, when I get done with the courses, I sit there and I'm like, well, why do I need these courses? Why do I need those courses? And yet, they never really explain that. So it kind of sucks. A problem arose, and I ended up having to come back home to assist here. And my mother got ill, and she's gotten better, but she still has moments where I would prefer her to be even better off than she is. But nevertheless, I came back and I helped out. And it's almost like a blessing in disguise. As weird as that seems. The reason I say that is, when I came back, I later learned that people in a local furniture factory, there was probably 50, 60 of the people, all of them had psych degrees. 50 or 60 people had psych degrees. Not a single one of them could use it. Not a one. There was no place to use it. Because every place around here was like it was just full up. It was already it was oversaturated, and they had no way that they could to get into that job. And I was like, well, don't you think that it would be easy to get into that job if you made your own practice? Couldn't do it. There was too many of them. And I mean that. Like, there was literally probably 4 psychologists in the campus, not in the campus, but in the town of the campus. 4 separate ones. Then there was like 2 more 20 minutes away. Then there was like 4 more somewhere else. It was oversaturated. And then, of course, everybody started going to psychiatrists and taking a pill for their problems, which actually doesn't do anything. And now psychology is a dead art, essentially. To a degree. To a degree, it's a dead art. And so, what are we left with? It was a blessing in disguise that I got out of college early on. Saved myself a whole bunch of time and money, right? But these people that racked up 6 years worth of college debt, I have to wait here until daytime because I need to go out to the volcano area. And I need the Quiver saddle, and I need the molten ingots to make the Quiver saddle so that I can fly on him and fly to where I need to be so that I don't catch fire again. But if you think about it, these people racked up 6 years of debt, 6 years of college loans. I paid off my student loans, and what little bit of area I was in, like what little bit of loans I took out, still took me a sizable time to pay them off. But they're paid off. And these people racked up 3 times as many loans, if not more, than me. And another, it's like a scam. It's nothing more than a scam. You take a look at how much they charge for the college books. Oh, this book that teaches you math, which is the same book you essentially used in high school. That book is used $50. You buy a new book, $250, $125, $300. There was one for psychology that I had to buy to get the psychology book, and I had something similar. Because I think it was my sister. I took a psychology course because she was taking like anatomy, physiology, and something else, and she was going to do forensic science. And she ran into troubles and whatnot, and then life comes at you fast, and life came at her fast, and she ended up backing out of the whole forensic science thing. And after that was the case, she gave me the psychology book, and so I took it with me, and I was like, oh, I'll just use this one, and pretty much every single professor there was like, nope, gotta go buy the new one. I had student loans taken out. The book was $325. Mind you, this was back in 2002. 2002. It's $325 for that book. I thought, okay, $325, no big deal. I could sell it back at the end of the year, maybe make $110, $115, $130. Awesome, especially if it's in really good condition. I might almost make $150. So I kept great care of that book. I made sure nothing happened to it. Didn't get marks in it. Nothing. Take it back to the book store at the end of the year. They scan all my books and they go, give you 185 total. And I'm like, 185 total. And I said, they're like, yeah. I said, what about the psychology book? I said, that thing was $325 brand new. Because you didn't have used copies because it just came out this year. And he goes, oh, yeah, we can't buy that one back. They're not using it next year. Say that again? You bought a book. You forced people to buy a book that they use for that year. And they're not using it the next year. So they don't buy it back. So I purchased a book that was worthless. And that's the scam. And yes, they do this. Now, everybody would say, well, not all colleges are scams. Look, you could say not all colleges are scams. I am not going to buy into that. To me, I think a whole boatload of them are scams, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And if it does, I'll be a shocker. I'll be shocked. But I don't see it happening. Because I think it's too cozy. If you think about it, right? Dean of admissions and a whole bunch of other people make oodles of money off of the unsuspecting masses. And there you go. That's it. They make money. And when they make that money, they're just like... And most colleges, they get federal grants, they get state level grants, and a lot of times they're tax exempt. Except for maybe property tax. But most of the time they're tax exempt. You really think their bookstore has to sit there and, keep tabs on all the money that they take in? Probably not. They might have payroll tax too, maybe. But for the most part, they're just like, they're just a non-taxable enterprise. So basically, they're just scamming people out of money. And then, of course, that whole thing came out where the colleges, you had celebrities buying their way into, they were buying their kids' way into college. They'd give a hefty donation. And next thing you know, their kid's in college because the celebrity decides to fork over $1 million. And where do those donations go? Where do they end up? Seems a little interesting, doesn't it? Right, give me some potatoes. £889 of potatoes. There we go. 7 potatoes. Well, what am I doing? I'm just gonna... Do that then. And if it's just gonna pull vegetables out of everything I own, I might as well just do it this way. Make one, and then cook it. Oh, like... People say, well, what do you do then? What do you mean, what do you do? If you know the entire thing's a scam, and you know everything is fixed against you, what do you do? Oh, it's not easy. It's not. Like, and it... Crap. Anybody that says it's easy, oh, just do this, it's easy. It's not. You literally have to almost break away from the societal structure as a whole, and that's not an easy task. That's a very difficult thing to do. I mean, huh? Oh, okay. Supply drop. Oh wow, he actually flies pretty good. Pretty efficient flyer too. Forgot I don't have a parachute. Well, that's no good. Go get him, Pen King. You love to just slaughter everything. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. I'm surprised this thing actually has a ground animation. That's so cool. I have to double tap spacebar to get it to fly. Pretty efficient on the stamina consumption too, come to think of it. Draconic Breath, Acid Rain, Spit, Spirit Fire. Oh, I have the ice version of him, the Reptyro Christ. The fact that you can sprint on them too is amazing. Oh, we're gonna get my body back. Don't know what else I'm gonna do. Actually, it's getting kind of late in this video. Yeah, like I don't. It's to me, like I said, I don't really like talking about politics. But when I see people saying something categorically incorrect, and then they don't understand the differentiation between capitalism, crony capitalism, it's like, come on, have some due diligence, do the research, do the work, like look into it. Don't just no. Look into it. Don't just take it at face value and be like, why am I on fire? Why am I on fire? Oh, because of my torch. Oh, good. Cool. Gold key. Torch needs to go away. What can I get rid of? I can get rid of Lee's Punk Crest. I can actually get rid of the shotgun ammo for now. I need those. I need those. I need those. I need the Pal Soul, the money. I need the torch for when I go back to the icy zone. I need my grappling gun. Ring of Freight. Like, come on, man. Oh, that Ring of Freight. That Ring of Freight's terrible. Put that one on. What are you doing? There's a grappling gun. The metal armor, the food. There we go. Put the food in the food pouch. Give me my cannon. Put this armor on. Discard that armor. Pick up the metal pick. Sweet. I have the single shot revolver. I'm gonna go up here to this point. Then I'm gonna go back. Jet Dragon. Wow. Oh, there's all that undiscovered stuff too. I need to go there and then go there and figure out what that is over there. So the last time I went to a place similar to that one was this one, and it said it was a crime to go there. Anyway. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I hope everybody enjoyed the topics. I know it's a bit of a jaunt away from what I normally talk about, but at the same time, it's like... It's good to have some differences. It's good to have a difference to talk about. It's good to have stuff to talk about like that, because if you can have those discussions, substantive or unsubstantive discussions, because there's times that you can't have a substantive discussion with somebody because they're just not open to conversing about it. When you can have that type of discussion with people, I think it brings people together and has people sit there and go, you know what? It's worth listening to because of reason. Whatever reason that may be. Just being able to have that sort of discourse with somebody, it's worthwhile. Truthfully. And people would say, oh, I know, and they'd be like, oh, no, it's not. That's like, come on, man. Like, let's be real here. Let's be real. It is. It is. Because being able to have that moment where you're sitting down and talking to somebody about something that may or may not affect them. I mean, hard telling. Who knows what affects whoever. But being able to have that open discussion with them means a lot. At least it means a lot to me. And the reason why it means a lot to me is because having that discussion and being able to sit down and reach that sort of, you know, this is my kind of, not really, I mean, I could say belief, but, you know, this is my point of view, and that is their point of view. And then there was the tropical outfit. Being able to have that, though, is just phenomenal. It's a great thing. And I hope more people do it. I really do, because I think it's going to bring people together, and I think it's going to make, I can't say the country as a whole. It's going to make people that reside here come together and at least look at the differences in opinion and say, you know, we may not agree on something, but I can respect your viewpoint for what it is, essentially. I mean, I'm that type of guy. I know when everyone's thinking, well, you just said you didn't like people do it. Look. I don't like it when people say something incorrect. Right? When there's factual evidence that we are in a crony capitalistic society and they just warp it on purpose. Big difference. Big difference. Because it's like you're willfully saying this is the case and it's not. That's what it is. That's the difference. I forgot where all my stuff is. Where did I put those PAL manuscripts? Oh, I put them over in the... Oh, I know where they are. Never mind. They're over here. There's a reason they're over here. I was doing research. Ooh. There's a rare PAL. What is it, I wonder? Ooh. It's a bristler. Don't worry, Bristle. You saw nothing. You didn't see me take the other one. What happened? It was a myth. Wow, this one went on an hour. That's crazy. I've noticed that too. That this one seems to go on longer than other ones. And I think it's because you lose track of time playing the game. And I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is I kind of lose track of time. Where did I put those? Well, they're going to be here now. So there. PAL manuscripts. Because I know you need them over here. See? Ancient PAL manuscripts. Perfect. That's where they are. At any rate, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I apologize if it kind of got off topic, but I saw people discussing it today, and I thought to myself, that really it just agitates me just the wrong way, if you catch my drift. But I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I know I did. I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one.